on, guys? Got a request for this video, so I'm going to kind of put some things in it. If you're looking to start an oil company, bonding, operating, things like that, there'll be a lot more to it. This is barely scratching the surface, but it'll give you an idea of what you need to do. As a disclaimer, I'm not an attorney, CPA, accountant, financial planner, or anything like that, so this is merely my opinion, not advice. Alright, let's get started. I know what you're thinking. A lot of oil guys watching this saying, holy hell, what is Josh saying about starting an oil company? He is nuts. It's a horrible idea. But the simple fact is when you look at the data, there is no better time than ever to start an oil company. I'm going to break it down very simply. This is January 2020 preliminary oil production by county in Texas. The Texas Railroad Commission has all kinds of production data. It's a great tool in research. Strongly suggest you get to know it because it will help you a lot. But when you start looking at these numbers, for instance, Midland County, 13 million barrels. Insane. That's a lot of oil. But when you break it down, 75% of that oil is in the last 6 years. And it's all come from Shale. Like 2014, 2015, that one big Chinese deal in the Permian, I believe it was not tall cotton, I can't think of it, but there was a deal that set the comps really high and set off the Permian rush. But it was well under 5 million barrels of oil produced 5-6 years ago. All these numbers you see are Shale. All these. Every last one of them. Karnes County, that's Eagleford. Reeves is just like Midland. All just massive explosion of oil in the last few years. All this will be coming offline. All of it. In the next 2 years, you could see, gosh, probably 40% reduction, 50% reduction, and oil will creep back up. The play here is you want to triple your money inside of 2 to 3 years. You can make quick buck here and there, but the goal if you are starting a company is you want to set yourself up for 3 years out, 4 years out. And you do it with conventional. If you go horizontal, costs are going to be too high to operate, and it's going to eat you alive. But conventional, you can make it. But you got to be in for the long haul. And this is a prime example of how much this has to fall. Gonzales County, that's Eagleford, LaSalle, DeWitt, that's Eagleford. Ward is Permian, Reagan, Glasscock. This is all of it is Shale. And it will all be coming down. Supply will come down eventually. And then oil will be back up into the 40s, 50s. Now we may even get into the 60s, possibly 70s by then. Bankers are not going to mess with Shale. They got burned too bad on this. They're going to lose everything on this, and they won't come back to it. And then all you new fellas out there are going to be able to take advantage of it. But yeah, this is why this is the greatest time to start the companies, because you can get everything for next to nothing. This is one of those parts where you want to get with a CPA and a lawyer and all of that, but I can tell you 100% do not do this stuff in a sole proprietorship. There's a lot of liabilities that come along with this, and the last thing you want is a $1 million lien against you for an accident or something of that nature. Make sure and get an LLC, LP, something. This is something where you definitely want to contact an attorney, accountant, whoever, There are a lot of things that can go wrong, and you have to be protected. That's really all I've got to say about that. If you do get an out, like if you're not in Texas, I'm showing everything in Texas, but if you operate in another state, there are foreign entity deals that you'll have to file as well with the state. That's a whole nother ball of wax. You will need to get an attorney or somebody in that profession to explain everything to you, but do not do this without the protection that you get from an LLC or LP, one of those deals. You do not want to get sued. It's not fun, but it does happen, and the last thing you want is for you to be standing there with the lawsuit. So that's all I got on that one as well. Let's go to the next. Now you've got to ask yourself a question. Do you want to operate wells? Yes or no? Operating is a pain in the butt. There's a lot of work to it. So this is a very important question. You also have to file a lot of paperwork. So if this is a full-time deal for you, then operating will not be near as difficult because you'll be working on it all the time. But make no mistake, operating is a pain. You can hire other people to operate your wells, and it goes anywhere, depending on what type of well, it can be anywhere from $300 a month to thousands of dollars a month, depending on the well. It is a lot of work, but you can save a lot of money. If you do operate a well, here are some of the things you're going to have to do in order to operate. Alright guys, if you do go with operating your own wells, here's some of the rules. I'm using Texas as a guide. Every state is different. Go to that various states' websites, commission. In Texas, it's pretty straightforward. You have to file a filing fee of $300 to get your operator, I guess, permit, you could call it. And then you also have to do bonding. It's all on this website, so I'm just going to kind of briefly go over it. If you search Texas Railroad Commission operator requirements, it'll pop up in the search. So here's all the stuff. Yeah, here's your filing fee. You get your $500 or $300, excuse me, filing fee. Each year you have to put up an additional amount of money for the fee. It can be up to $1,300, which if you're at $1,300, you're doing good. That's massive EOG level wells. But also financial assurance. This is bonding for plug and abandonment. If you abandon the well, this is so they can go in and plug it. If you take off, if you die, if you go broke, whatever it may be, it's either $2 a foot, or you can get you can leave a deposit, 25 grand, letter of credit from a bank, $25,000 bond, depending on your background and credit. You can get one of those for roughly $500 to $1,000. Like I said, that all depends on your credit and background. If you have to, you can put up the full $25,000 for them to hold. Me personally, that's a lot of cash for them to hold. I just get a bond. But again, if you've only got one well, then the $2 a foot might as well be the way to go. And you can even work that into your deal with you and your buddies, that y'all put up the cash for that particular well. Then once you plug it and you show that it's plugged, way down the road, the Railroad Commission will give you your money back. So the P&A bond is strictly if you take off or die, they have money to plug the well, so it doesn't just sit there. In reality, it'll sit there for years if it's not leaking or anything else, hoping that an orphan status will get somebody to take it over. But that's basically what that is. Offshore, just don't even mess with it. The bays in South Texas, offshore, just don't even mess with that stuff yet. If you're brand new, there's a lot more headaches that go with that, a lot more fees, and a lot more stringent complications of operating there. It's a nightmare. Don't mess with it. They also have a list of surety bond companies here, which is good. And guys, one of the great things about Texas is they have buildings full of people who want to help you. If you have questions, if you're trying to learn, here the P5 is your operator form, but you can email them, call them. They have legal. You can call, ask legal questions regarding things. They're not your personal attorney, but if you need clarity on a legal matter involving the Railroad Commission, they can help you on that as well. So make sure and take full advantage of it. Okay, guys, that wraps this one up. Due to time constraints, we're going to try to break these videos up. In the next video I should have out fairly soon, it's how to look for deals, the structures of deals, and make sure and doing a really good due diligence on the mechanical aspect of buying oil wells, checking the bearings, things of that nature for failure. So I hope you enjoyed it. Please follow me at Joshua Pollard on Twitter. If you have any questions, feel free to email me or comment below, and I'll get to them as soon as I can. Thanks, guys.